there for me. I'm so excited to get our tickets.
You know where to go, right?
Aren't you excited to get our tickets?
Oh yeah, I'm so excited.
Today is the day we purchase our
I
tickets
didn't
to
know I was being
Thailand.
filmed. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Here you go. I even brought the mic for you.
I'm good for now.
Why are you talking into it?
Hello everyone, and thank you for being here. Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into something a lot of people skip when planning their trip, and that is travel insurance. I know it's not exciting like picking flights or planning for excursions, but trust me, this one matters when it comes to your health and being safe. And so we're going to dive into the details and why we picked this particular travel insurance company. I will break down why travel insurance is a must-have, why we didn't go with SafetyWing or IMG for this trip, and why we ended up choosing Allianz All Trips Premium. And I'll show you exactly what it covers with real examples so you can see why we think it's worth it. But first, let's talk flights. We sat down at the computer and wow, like, oh my gosh, these airlines, there are so many upsells now. Seats, fees, baggage fees. Basically, if they can charge you for it, they do. After hours of digging, we booked with ANA, which is All Nippon Airways. I had previously never heard of this particular airline. So why did we choose ANA? Well, let me tell you, okay? They allow for 2 checked bags, a carry-on, a handheld, which is like your purse or your computer bag. We get free seat selection, and the best part for us is that there is a 7-hour layover. Now, one would say, why is a 7-hour layover perfect for you? Well, because the layover is in Tokyo, and this allows for us to go and see the city. So it gives us plenty of time to step out, get some sushi maybe, see Shibuya Crossing, and still make it back for our flight in time. So with tickets booked, it was time for the insurance conversation. And you might be thinking, do I really need travel insurance? And for me and for my husband, the answer is yes, definitely we need travel insurance. Okay, emergencies happen. Just recently, actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner tragically drowned while on vacation in Costa Rica. I'm sure many of us heard that story. You know, and accidents happen, and we just don't know when those accidents will happen. And sometimes, you know, it might not be anything that tragic, okay? It could be maybe a slip and fall, you fell off your scooter, you got food poisoning, or your flight got canceled, you lost your bags. Any of those things could happen. Here in the United States, health insurance usually does not cover you abroad. That means if something happens to you while you are out of the country, then you're on your own, okay? Anything that happens is coming out of your pocket. And so while medical is not as expensive overseas, it still can run you a pretty penny. It can still run you a pretty penny, okay? And because we are traveling through multiple countries, Bangkok, Vietnam, Malaysia, multiple cities, we needed a multi-trip plan, not just one single trip policy. Now, SafetyWing is actually a pretty great plan. One might ask why we didn't go with SafetyWing. Well, SafetyWing is a great plan, I must admit, but it's more like a medical insurance program that includes some travel coverage. And for someone my age, it was around $149 a month. For my husband, about the same. So that's perfect if you already are living abroad. But since we haven't officially moved yet, paying monthly premium just didn't make sense at this time. With that said, once we move, SafetyWing will be our go-to expat medical insurance. So that is the reason why we didn't go with SafetyWing at this time. IMG covers pre-existing conditions, which is great, but most of their travel insurance is just a single trip plan or a single trip focus, and their full international health plans can cost several $1,000s, okay? When I say several $1,000s, I'm talking upwards of $12,000 to $14,000 a year for someone my age and my husband's age. So for this scouting trip, that was just an overkill and not a good idea. We also looked into our airline travel insurance, which, as you know, most airlines will offer travel insurance as an option when flying somewhere, but they didn't have an annual multi-city plan, and that's exactly what we needed. So for that reason, we didn't go with ANA for our travel insurance plan. So after all of that, after all the research and multiple hours on the computer, we went with Allianz All Trip Premium. This plan is perfect for us. It covers every trip we take for a full year. We can stay up to 90 days in one location. And this is perfect for our 5 to 6 week scouting trip. While we are traveling for 5 to 6 weeks, each individual trip is considered its own location because we're traveling to multiple cities within the country. You just have to register your trips not to have any issues. This particular plan also covers pre-existing medical conditions as long as you buy it within 14 days of your first payment. And cost-wise, the plan cost us $242.50 per traveler, which is $485 for both of us for the year. For peace of mind, medical insurance, I think that is a great price. I want to take this time to dive into this plan a little further so you guys can get a feel of what is actually covered under this plan. And so we're going to talk details here, okay? So bear with me. In regards to trip cancellation, the policy covers up to $2,000 for trip cancellation per person per trip, okay? This pays you back for any non-refundable costs if you cancel for a covered reason. So one might ask, well, what is a covered reason? Covered reasons are things like you or a travel buddy gets seriously sick or injured before your trip, okay? There's a death in the family, your home catches on fire, there's a flood due to a hurricane, you're called in for jury duty. Even certain travel delays that may cause you to miss your flight are also covered. But it's important that you read the terms and conditions so you know exactly what those terms are and there are no questions before purchasing your policy. For example, let's say that you booked an $1,800 flight and you purchased your hotel in advance, $200 to $400, okay? 2 days before your departure, you break your ankle and your doctor says you can't travel. Allianz will reimburse you for those costs, so you're not out of pocket for almost $2,000, okay? Now, they also cover for emergency medical up to $50,000. Emergency medical is obviously you know, like having to go to the ER for any particular reason, and or you have a dental emergency. So this is for unexpected medical or dental during your trip. What's covered? Doctor and hospital visits, emergency surgeries, prescription medications, ambulance coverage, dental work up to $750. There are a lot of items that's covered. Anything that's considered a medical emergency should be covered under this policy. So, for example, you're in Vietnam, and you wake up with severe abdominal pain. Turns out it's appendicitis. You go to the emergency room and you have to have emergency surgery, and you're in the hospital for 3 days. It will cost you roughly, I don't know, let's say, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, let's say $5,000 to $10,000. So these will be out-of-pocket costs if you don't have travel insurance. Allianz will cover this surgery, so it gives you some peace of mind, okay? Emergency medical transportation is covered up to $500,000. This is huge because emergency evacuations are very expensive. So an emergency evacuation is if there is, say, I don't know, let's just say that you have some sort of an emergency that the hospital cannot handle, that particular hospital cannot handle because the facility is too small. So you have to be medevac to another hospital by air. So Allianz will cover the cost of that medevac, and not only cover the cost of the medevac to get you to a hospital that can operate on you or treat you for your emergency, they will also pay for transportation back home to your home country. Let me give you an example, okay? Say you're hiking in Malaysia, you have a heart attack, and the local clinic can't handle it. Allianz pays for the helicopter ride to a big city hospital and your flight back home once you're cleared. That alone can easily cost you well over $30,000, $40,000. I don't know the exact cost, but it's very expensive, okay? If your bags are lost, stolen, or damaged, Allianz will cover you up to $2,000 for your bags. If you have any high value items in your bag, such as jewelry or watches, they're capped out at $500. So be careful as to what items you put in your suitcase. If you have any high value items, I suggest that you put them in your backpack or your carry-on suitcase so that these items will not be lost or stolen, because you will not get reimbursed for those items. Well, you will get reimbursed $500, which is nothing in comparison to the value of those items. So as a side note, just be aware of that. And let's say that your bags are delayed. This happens often. Allianz will cover up to $2,000, but the caveat is that they will only cover after your bags have been missing for 12 hours. If your bags are delayed for 12 plus hours, Allianz covers essential items like clothes and toiletries. So just be careful. You can't go out and just go on a shopping spree. These are only emergency items. For example, let's say your bags arrive the next day, which is 18 hours late. You spend $150 on basic clothes and hygiene items to get through the day. Allianz will reimburse you for those items. So you can see how the plan actually works by that example. Okay, so these are emergency items they will reimburse you for, which I think is pretty good. Let's talk about travel delays. Allianz will cover up to $1,500. This covers extra expenses when you are stuck at the airport because of a delay that lasts at least 6 hours. Okay, so there's the caveat again. You must be in the airport, or there must be a delay of at least 6 hours or more. So let's say that your flight is canceled due to weather and you have to wait 24 hours for the next flight. You pay $200 for a hotel, $60 for meals. Allianz will reimburse you up to $300 per day of the delay, with a maximum of $1,500. Allianz also covers rental car insurance up to $44,000. So let's say that you rent a car overseas, the car is stolen, or you get into a car accident. Okay. The repair bill is $3,500. Allianz will cover the cost of those damages as long as you follow the rental terms of the agreement. So make sure to read your rental contract so you know what is exactly covered. So let's say that you must be 21 years old in the rental contract to rent a car. You are 19 years old and you rent this car and you get into a car accident. In that case, Allianz will not cover the cost because you are not within the rental terms of the contract. So be aware of these differences when you are choosing your coverage and just knowing what your policy will cover. Okay. Allianz will also cover travel accident insurance up to $50,000. This is a cash benefit for accidental injuries or death while you're overseas. A good example, Malcolm-Jamal Warner drowning in Costa Rica. In that case, Allianz will automatically pay out $50,000. It also covers for a lost limbs, hearing loss, or any other major accident that arises. You lose your sight, any of those major things like that, your benefit is $50,000 to you or to your beneficiary. Just over the last 5 years has been a major option since COVID happened a few years back is epidemic coverage. So if there is any type of epidemic that arises in a particular country, the country has to shut down, Allianz will pay for anything of the sort. Okay. Now that I've gone over some of the details and the coverage of Allianz plan, travel insurance plan, just want to share with you some of my final thoughts. And now I believe you can see why we went with Allianz All Trip Premium. For us, it covered everything that we need for this trip and other trips over the next year. So this just made sense for us. And honestly, having insurance means that I can focus, my husband can focus on enjoying the trip instead of worrying about the what ifs. Sometimes we can get bogged down with what ifs, but this way there's just peace of mind. It doesn't even have to cross our minds because we know that we are covered. So if you are planning an international trip, especially a multi-city trip like we are, get insurance. And even if you're not planning a multi-city trip and you just plan on traveling overseas, look into the different insurance travel plans that are available, whether it's with Allianz or not with Allianz. It really doesn't matter. This is not a plug for Allianz. This is something that we checked in and we decided on based on our needs and what we need at this particular time. Just the most important thing when looking for a travel insurance plan is to make sure that it fits your needs, okay? Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you found this information helpful. Please hit the like and subscribe. We would appreciate it, and leave your questions in the comments section and we will try to address those questions as in our next video. Thank you again, and bye. Stop it.